History tells the story of the world and of our lives. Sometimes that history goes bump in the night. Broadcasting from the center of Oddity and the supernatural in Central Florida, it's the History Goes Bump podcast.
Hello, you spooktacular people. Welcome to this 493rd episode of the History Goes Bump podcast, Ghost Tours for the Theater of the Mind. I'm your host, Diane.
And this is Kelly.
On this episode, we have another one of our investigations, Kelly. I'm very excited to share this with all the listeners.
As am I.
We went to this little house in St. Augustine, which actually wasn't that old. It was built over a foundation that had been a 1930s house, but this one was built in the 1980s. But boy, was it active. And what was really fun about it is my sister, her husband, and our niece and nephew were in town, and we took them all for their very first ghost hunt.
And I think they had a blast.
I think they did too. So we're looking forward to sharing that with you guys. Just want to preempt this. My sister has allergies, and when she comes to Florida, they go crazy. So you will occasionally hear her blowing her nose in the background and such.
It's not a demon.
It's not a demon. Before we get into that, we want to welcome into the spooktacular crew Keith, Charles, Lucifina, Michelle with 2 L's, and Geneva.
Thank you so much for joining our Facebook group.
And now this moment in Oddity.
Economic times have been tough for many of us these days. But what if you came upon an unexpected stash of coins? Copper, to be precise, as in a collection of 1 million pennies. Recently, a family in California discovered a collection of coins while cleaning out the basement of a deceased relative's home. Some of the coins were still encased in bank-sealed bags and boxes. Reports in the New York Times estimated the value of the pennies at around $10,000. Removing the coins from the crawl space they were found in was tedious. The process even left imprints on the fingers of the family members who removed them due to the weight of the coins. One helpful detail in the discovery was that each parcel removed had the number of coins written on the outside of the package, somewhat simplifying the task at hand. However, the family has been faced with difficulties in finding a bank that actually wants all the copper coins in exchange for the appropriate payout. A Wells Fargo manager said that the family may possibly find a few high-value pennies that would be pre-World War II in the midst of the collection. The relatives have no desire to sort through the 1 million coins for the possibility of happening upon a few of the rare pennies, so they've decided to list the coins for sale on OfferUp, asking $25,000. Most people would concur that coming across an unexpected, creatively concealed cache of coins is exciting. However, one thing is for certain, finding 1 million pennies in a deceased relative's crawl space certainly is odd.
Kelly, penny for your thoughts.
But,
We are aliens taking over this broadcast.
Get lost, you little green creeps.
And now, this month in history.
In the month of June, on the 29th in 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court halted all death row executions. In Furman v. Georgia, the court ruled 5-4 that capital punishment violated the 8th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The case centered on Furman, who was burglarizing a home when he was discovered. During his attempt to flee, Furman tripped and fell, causing his gun to fire, which killed a family member in the home. By a narrow majority, the court decided that the death penalty constituted cruel and unusual punishment. This was the first time that the U.S. Supreme Court had ruled against capital punishment. However, the court ruling also suggested that new legislation could make death sentences constitutional again in the future. The Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty in 1976, in part because polls showed 2/3 of Americans supported capital punishment and progress had been made in jury guidelines. Today, the court often faces questions on the constitutionality of particular aspects of the death penalty system, but cases continue forward following the revised laws of 1976.
A haunted house in the city of St. Augustine is not unique. It seems every location near the historic downtown is haunted. But this house, as Diane said, was fairly new, being built in the 1980s. We conducted an investigation here that lends credence to the theory that any place can have unexplained activity regardless of age. Perhaps it's because of the land. Maybe things that happened in the house left spiritual residue. Or it's also possible that spirits gather somewhere because of the people seeking to communicate with them. Join us as we investigate a small house just outside the historic downtown of St. Augustine.
So we arrived at the house at midnight, and we were greeted by our host, John. We'd booked a private investigation for just our family for 2 hours with Ghost Augustine and Paraforce Investigations. Ghost Augustine hosts ghost tours and pub crawls, and they also make investigation equipment. One of our first pieces, as a matter of fact, Kelly, our EMF detector, we got from Ghost Augustine. And I also, one of the very first, I think it was actually the first ghost tour I ever did in St. Augustine was through them. John gave us a quick history of the spot before we went inside.
I'm going to tell you a little history about the area, then we're going to go inside, get out of this mosquito hellhole, and then we're going to talk about the house, the equipment, the spirits, and then lights out for 2 hours. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Alrighty, so prior to the 1500s, before Europeans came to settle this area has always been a territorial turf war between the Creek and the Seminoles. So from here, spanning all the way across the peninsula, there are many burial sites. And back in the 80s, when this neighborhood was being built, they built around top of a few of them. So, just might have stirred up a few things around here. But prior to after the Europeans landed, they established a plantation here, spanning from this point all the way to where the airport is, where they mainly grew sugarcane and indigo. Probably the hardest fact, or the most interesting fact in my opinion, is in this exact spot was where the slaves lived. And there are also no lynchings on the area, but there are no confirmed burial records for those who were lynched. So we could very well be walking on African American graves. So all I ask is that you respect the area, and they'll respect you back. Before we continue, just as a disclaimer, people have been push, shove, punch, groped, and felt up. So at any point you feel uncomfortable, you can take a step outside. The door will lock behind you just as a safety thing, but I'll be with you the entire night. So feel free to ask questions. Sound good?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, let's get inside the house.
We also found that this was a commercial property for many years. When I looked into it, it looks like there was definitely a place called Jim's Drywall that had been here. And interestingly enough, we're going to find out later that there is a spirit here called James, so I don't know if there's a connection there or not.
The Seminole Indians were involved in 3 separate Seminole Wars. They are a tribe of Creek origin. The name Seminole is thought to derive from the Creek word Simanoli, meaning separatist or runaway. The name may have also derived from the Spanish word cimarron, or wild. They settled mostly in the Everglades and were joined by other tribes and runaway slaves. Eventually, the Indian Removal Act came calling, and that is what started the wars as the Seminoles fought removal. The Second Seminole War was one of the deadliest and costliest American Indian wars ever fought on U.S. soil, and a group of Seminoles was captured and brought to St. Augustine as prisoners. They were kept at the Castillo de San Marcos, which at the time was known as Fort Marion. They were held for 2 months between November and December of 1837. Osceola, a famous Seminole war leader, was one of those prisoners. After the wars, many Seminoles fled south again, and to this day they claim to be the unconquered tribe.
John not only had mentioned that we had the turf wars here with the Creek and Seminole Indians, but also that plantations were here in St. Augustine, and they were spread all across St. Augustine. As he said, they grew sugarcane and indigo. Indigo in St. Augustine was called blue gold. It was the major export crop from St. Augustine in the 1760s and 1770s. Florida had a perfect environment for growing indigo, and plantations could produce 3 crops a year. It took about 100 pounds of indigo plant to produce 4 ounces of processed indigo.
Wow.
And it was a long process to process it. Indigo was processed in 3 vats that were made from coquina, tabby, or wood. And we had fun showing our family the difference between coquina and tabby because my sister and brother-in-law have never been to St. Augustine before.
Yeah, it was quite fun.
The plants were cut up and placed in the vats that were filled with water and urine to help the fermentation process.
Yummy.
Yeah. The urine usually came from slaves. In the second vat, it was beaten with sticks as the water drained off, and in the third vat, it was pressed and then dried into blocks. The finished product would be shipped to England. The indigo was grown by and processed by slaves. The chance of there being slave graves in the area where the house stands is possible. The plantation closed down in 1866, and the land was sold.
The house is fairly small. We entered into what was a kitchen at one time, with a restroom to the right. This is a modern restroom, but that doesn't stop it from being haunted. And we will get to some evidence in there a little later. The kitchen area is a central hub, with a TV featuring the transmission from 4 cameras throughout the house. There are 2 small bedrooms coming off a central hall that empties into a medium-sized room that was probably the family room. It holds a dining table now. The original house was built in 1931, and there was another house right next to it where there is a large garage today. The second house burned down in the 1940s. The 1931 house stood until 1981 when it was demolished because of foundation issues and then rebuilt. The kitchen and bathroom were part of an extension built in 1985. The house is fairly new considering that it was built in the 1980s, but that doesn't stop it from being incredibly active. This house is proof that it is important to know about the land and everything that has stood on the property through the years.
I can't imagine what this house was like when it didn't have the kitchen and bathroom extension on it.
Right.
I don't know if it had an outhouse and no kitchen, if it had an outside kitchen. I'm not sure. Because that's not something that they would have done back in the 1980s. So how do you have a house without a kitchen and bathroom unless they had something else that they kind of got rid of and then added on to? John, of course, took us around the house and told us about the various spirits they believe are there. The first room we went into was called Jack's room. The story behind Jack is that he lived in the original house during the 1940s and he became depressed and hanged himself in the house. John is going to tell us about the spirit, and right at that beginning, you'll hear us react to a piece of equipment that picks up static electricity because it blipped. It's similar to a REM pod. It's called I don't know if they call it a NEM pod, but we actually purchased one of those, so we have that for our future investigations. Here's that audio.
We see him on our SLS camera, another device I'll bring out later, either standing right here between this curtain and this baby changing table. There's nothing behind here other than turning around some extra equipment. That's what it's supposed to. That wasn't me, so. Or he's standing right here where this chair is, and on the SLS he's well over 9 feet tall.
Wow.
Floor to ceiling, his shoulders are up to here, but his head's sticking through the roof.
Wow.
He doesn't fit on the frame. That's
Interesting.
because rumor has it is when they found his body, he's been hanging there for so long that his spine was basically pulled out from his body.
Oh, wow.
So that's just a theory of where that came from, but yeah.
The main room with the dining table is home to the spirit of a little boy named Tommy. And just as always seems to happen with us, we got the most interaction from him. He was a ton of fun.
Yes, he was.
There's also a ghost cat that hangs out, as well as another entity. Here's John telling us about these spirits.
So out here we have a little boy named Tommy. He's between the ages of 5 to 9. He's very shy. If you work with kids, he's more often to come out. Since we have a younger person in the group today, he's also more likely to come out. I saw him earlier today sitting in that chair right behind you with the teddy bear. He's very small. Sitting on that chair, his legs barely come off the edge, and standing up, he's only about 3.5 feet tall. He is very playful though, so if he does come out tonight, he likes to play with the equipment, he likes to play with his bear, so if we see him tonight, it's going to be a real treat. We also have an entity up here that we call the spider. It's not actually a spider. There are two theories of where it came from, one being what I was told, the other one is what I'm currently investigating. So I'll tell that when I bring up the SLS camera, but all you need to know is that he's not evil or anything, and he only really shows up on the SLS. We also have a cat in here.
No. Yes, have a what?
A cat.
Oh, okay.
A ghost cat. So you'll feel it brush up against your legs, clawing at your legs. Just cat. I also like to think it's our little poltergeist, because sometimes that stuff does get knocked off the table near the edges.
That's a cat.
Oh yeah, that's why I think it's our little poltergeist.
That thing called the spider will seem to show up later in a way that John said it would, on the SLS camera. There are some people who think that the spider was brought in via a Ouija board at some point. John also told us later that Tommy occasionally swears because he has picked up a few of those bad words through the years.
Yeah, I don't think we got any swearing from him. I didn't see the spider on the SLS camera. I don't think when John would say, "Oh, the spider's here." You did. What did it look like?
It just looked, instead of having like long legs and arms like more of the human figures, it had shorter legs and many of them, and it would just kind of spaz out and spin around and everything.
Weird. So it really did kind of look like a spider.
Yeah, and when I saw it, it was actually on the dining table.
Interesting. So it definitely wasn't the cat making some kind of an appearance.
I mean, the only way that it could be the cat is because the SLS camera does have sort of spastic movement to it.
Yeah.
If it looked like it had more legs because of the cat's tail, but I don't know.
Interesting.
I mean, we did have our cat balls on the table.
We did. The other small bedroom is home to a spirit named James. John told us that it feels oppressive to people who are sensitive, and Kelly, you definitely felt kind of weird in there.
Yes, well, I didn't say anything because I don't want it to seem like I was led into feeling a certain way. I didn't have any of the feelings that he described that some people do. I was feeling really nauseous.
Yeah, he was saying people feel claustrophobic, oppressed.
Heavy on the chest.
Yeah, and when I walked in there, I kind of felt that way just because it's a very small room. It didn't feel like it had a lot of ventilation. So I was like, well, if people are feeling that way, because a lot of the time we're like, sometimes people feel weird in a house because of the construction. The floors are weird. You know, there's something about the environment. But when you say that you feel nauseous, I pay attention because that happens very rarely to you.
Yeah, I think it's only happened a couple other times. One was at the Charleston jail when I had to move through this particular location and trying to get through there. I felt extremely nauseous, but then once I passed by that area, I was fine immediately. The other time was when we were doing that investigation with Big Sarge in Mechanicsburg. And I don't...
Oh, yeah, the Hoagstown Church.
Yes. And I don't know if it was possibly because I was getting such an intense headache from the smell that I was smelling that made me feel nauseous, or if it was a combination of, you know, whatever was going on in that building.
But generally speaking, when you step away from wherever you're feeling nauseous, you feel perfectly fine right afterwards. So
exactly.
And usually if you get nausea, it doesn't go away quickly.
No, I don't. I don't just randomly get nausea. Yeah, I don't just randomly get waves of nausea periodically.
So here's the audio of John sharing about the ghost James.
So when we step into this room, you might get a little overwhelmed. So come on, follow me. This is the Wild West room, or as I call it, the portal room. Special peaceful history and all the death in St. Augustine's kind of caused a citywide portal. And one of the epicenters is where this house is. And more specifically, this room. We get a lot of interactions in here, and especially the number one feeling is claustrophobia and anxiety. Weight on your chest, on your shoulders, you feel like you're in a room full of people.
Does it have to be in this room, or can it be in that room?
It can be anywhere. It really depends on the different people. 50-50, depending on the people, it's either this room or Jack's room. But we also have our most powerful spirit in here, named James. James is an ancient, which is a spirit that's never been born into this world. He's kind of like the opposite of a demon, but not quite an angel because he likes to mess with people. Remember when I asked you to close that door? He's locked me out twice and kept me from leaving once.
Oh, wow.
He can perfectly mimic anyone or anything. So I've heard car doors slam, people talk on the back porch. Okay, my tutor's here. Go out there, no one's on the back porch. Walk outside, no one's parked on side. Okay, door closes and the deadbolt closes. Locks. You guess he didn't have his key yet. Thankfully, my boss is already here watching me. That was my test, I guess. But that was a fun night. But 3 weeks ago, probably the highlight of James for me was blocking us from leaving. I had a van tour here, and I was getting set up for this tour, actually, a midnight tour. And the back door couldn't open. My full weight on the door, could not get it open. Felt like someone was holding it closed. I had someone on the outside pushing the door, could not get it open until a lovely young lady from the van tour walks up and opens it like it's nothing. It was a pickle jar moment. So he can be a little trickster. If James is active, he likes to mess with people.
They do think that maybe this is some kind of a portal in that room. You and I, when people start talking about portals, I get kind of like, because you hear it so often. This is a portal. This is a portal. I don't know that we necessarily have a portal here. Maybe there's some kind of an energy to the ground that was here. Something about the house that just makes it feel that way. Or if it just seems like spirits congregate in this room for a reason, I don't know. So after this, John cut us loose to start investigating, and we decided to start in the main room. I set up the flashlight experiment, but my flashlight never turned on the entire evening. John had a mag light that he set up on the table, and it was really active. It kept turning on and off all night long. Sometimes it seemed like it did it when we would ask it to on command, sometimes not. So we kind of got to the point, I think, where we were just ignoring it. I even set our flashlight next to his, and still, we got nothing. So, I don't know. Could be that maybe there was a battery issue with his flashlight.
Well, John even mentioned that when I was standing off to the side with him. He goes, I think there might be a battery issue with my flashlight.
Yeah. And like I said, there were a couple times that it seemed like it turned on, like when you asked it to, and then turned off right after. And John asked for James to turn it off and then turn it on again. And so, I mean, it did occasionally seem to be working with us, but I just wasn't sure I trusted it. And again, when it's not our actual equipment that I've checked and everything, I get a little iffy about it.
Ghost Augustine makes equipment, and they have an Ovilus-like device they developed because Ovilus went out of business.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. It was spitting out a lot of words, which, again, made us wonder if it was an equipment issue.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you can change the sensitivity on it, but it literally was spitting out words like dut, 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 dut. And I'm like, I don't think there's like a spirit standing right here saying words, boom, 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 boom. So I don't know. It almost felt like it was going through its library.
Well, it did say 34 years when first turned on, and it is believed that Jack was in his 30s when he committed suicide. Diane asked about the spider entity, and you will hear the Ovilus in the background, and John does decide to turn down the sensitivity.
So the thing that you say is like a spider, is that something it would do is crawl?
I have a theory on what it actually is, but we call it a spider because it looks like a spider web on the SLS. So the wall behind you takes up the whole wall looking like a spider web on the table. But when he's sitting in the chair, he looks almost like a hornet's nest with a bunch of wasps flying around it.
Okay.
Very good.
Clear. Discovered. Turning. Late. Cards.
Cards. We were just talking about cards earlier.
So.
I just turned down the sensitivity again.
There are many spirits in the house, so that also may be why there were so many words coming out of it. We also had a music box set up in the front room, and it's going to be very active. It went off for the first time about 10 minutes into the investigation. The creepy word at the beginning of this clip is the portal box in Jack's room.
Jack, if that's you, do you want to turn the flashlight off?
What if you know James with how intense that light's been going on and off?
James, if this is you, do you want to turn the flashlight off?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
James will turn it on and off real fast and really bright.
Battery.
Tommy will flicker it a little bit. Jack will just slowly fade it in, fade it out. They have their own interesting way of turning it on and off.
Oh, thank you for walking in front of that for us. That makes a pretty sound. Can can you tell us on that machine over there the name of whoever turned the machine on? Who turned on the music box? Can you tell us who turned on the music box?
Mystery.
I know it's a mystery. I'd love it if you'd tell me who turned on the box.
James, do you want to walk in front of the music box if that was you before? Or maybe turn the flashlight back on? Thank you.
Yeah, those portal boxes always make the creepiest sounds. I guess it's good because it gets rid of all of the static.
Well, and at least this one wasn't as echoey as some of the ones that we've experienced in the past.
But it sometimes is really hard to understand them because they are echoey like that. But there will be a couple times that you'll hear it in the background of some of the audio that we're going to play you, and it sounds like it is responding to what we're saying, even though we're not actually in the room with it asking the box directly. So let me go ahead and tell you the names of my family so that you can follow along here. My sister's name is Christy. Her husband is Rich. Our nephew is Jacob or Jake, and our niece is Jordan. Jake and I stayed in the main room. Kelly, you and Christy and Jordan went into Jack's room. And I think Rich, he spent a lot of time out watching the cameras. And you guys did a dowsing session while you were in there, right?
Yes, we did.
How did things go with that?
It was pretty interesting. We did get some responses, but the dowsing rods kept pointing over to Jordan, like very interested in Jordan. So sometimes it would answer questions and then they would just swing over and point at Jordan.
Yeah, so we have Jack and James. We're not sure which, but they definitely liked Jordan. She's 19. She's a cute girl. And she actually was getting touched quite a bit. Maybe not in such appropriate ways either. I did hear you ask if something was pushing on your legs, and it seems that you guys were definitely getting touched quite a bit in there.
Yeah, it was actually really bizarre. I've not felt that kind of pressure before. Usually I get the tingly touches, like the static electricity. This was like something was pushing on my legs, pushing me back towards the wall.
Interesting, because like when I've only been touched once, and then I've reached into a spirit before, and I never felt like any kind of actual physical pressure on my body. It was just that weird static electrical kind of feeling.
Yeah, I actually forgot that happened. But this is why we record everything.
Yes.
Because then when you're bringing it up, I thought, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people will tell you the best piece of equipment you have going into any investigation is a recorder so that you can catch EVP. For me, yeah, that's great. Sometimes we catch EVP. We didn't get any on this one. We're not going to have any EVP to play for you, but I need it just so that I can remember exactly everything that has happened, the order in which it happened. It just really helps.
Well, yeah, especially when you're old and it's going on and the investigation's going on
Who are you calling old?
Midnight and 2.
Yeah. And now a little break for a word about one of our sponsors.
Do you ever wonder if there's more to the world than what meets the eye? Are you fascinated by the realms beyond our ordinary senses? If so, we have something truly extraordinary to offer you. Introducing Outside the Crystal Ball, the podcast that will guide you on a remarkable journey to becoming a medium and psychic.
Hosted by psychic and mediums Reverend Ronald Flores and Emily Minton, Outside the Crystal Ball is the ultimate destination for all aspiring psychics, intuitives, and those curious about the mysterious realm of the supernatural. Whether you're a complete beginner or already have some psychic abilities, this podcast will provide you with the knowledge, tools, and insights to tap into your innate psychic potential.
Each episode of Outside the Crystal Ball delves into a wide range of captivating topics, including psychic development techniques, mediumship practices, energy healing, divination methods, spirit communication, paranormal investigations, and much more. Gain practical insights and learn step-by-step techniques that will take you on an incredible journey of self-discovery.
Don't miss your chance to embark on an extraordinary adventure with Outside the Crystal Ball. Subscribe now and start your journey today. Remember, the path to discovering your psychic potential lies just outside the crystal ball. Find them on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Jake and I picked up an orb that moved from the floor to the chair and back down again, so we thought maybe this might be the cat. And I think what it was is Jacob was using equipment that was kind of like a FLIR camera, but not quite. because it had a weird image on it. But he goes, Aunt Diane, look at this. And, we poo-poo orbs and stuff. But it was like a little bright dot, and it was moving around in such a way that I'm like, okay, we're not picking up on a bug or something else. This is definitely something that seems to be projecting itself. And just the way it was moving around on the floor, and then it was in the chair, and then it was down, I felt like we were watching a cat walking around.
Yeah, that does sound like something a cat would be doing for sure.
So I give that some credence. Also, make sure to check out our Instagram, our YouTube. While we're doing our own recording and recording things on our phone and stuff, as we said, there's 4 cameras in this house. And the cool thing about Ghost Augustine is if you pay a little bit extra for that footage, they send it to you. And wow, this room was orb central on that camera. And there is one orb that we captured, Kelly. People hear us all the time when people show us pictures or other videos, or we're watching Ghost Adventures. We're like, yeah, okay, maybe. This orb, there's something about it. It is the most incredible orb video I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was really unique. And I wish that we could zoom in on it a little bit further, because it was a circular orb, but then there was a clear spot in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that it moved throughout the room for that extended period of time, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
No, it was very bright. It comes in on the side of the picture that the camera is capturing. It kind of goes down towards the floor. And you might be thinking, okay, some kind of dust. But then it does this turn and starts coming at you. And you're kind of leaning over the dining table. And then it turns again right next to you and goes past you and then starts to go up. And I thought it was going to go, there was a mirror on the wall there. I thought it was going to go into the mirror, which would have been really cool. But then it kind of just disappears out of the picture up. But it's like I'd say 15 seconds.
Yes, it was an extended period of time.
And I'm actually shocked. We put it up in the Spooktacular crew, and I put it over at Instagram, and we barely got any reaction to it. And I'm like, wow, I don't know if people weren't watching, but I'm like, this is an incredible piece of evidence. But I don't know, maybe some people weren't impressed by it. But we definitely had a lot of orbs going on in there. We didn't share a lot of video of that just because there was so much of it. And then there were also bugs and, trying to decipher between the two. But there were enough orbs that were moving very slowly and doing weird stuff that, I don't know, I felt that they might be spiritual in some kind of aspect. The music box went off again, and it seems that Tommy was here. So perhaps he was the orb that we were seeing rather than the cat, because the chair that the orb went up on has Tommy's bear sitting in it. This supposedly is a bear that they don't even know where it came from, so they just call it Tommy's bear, and they leave it in this chair for him. We did bring our bear, too.
Yes, we did. And John said, well, he doesn't usually like other bears. So I said, oh, okay, because I'd originally set it on that chair with the other bear with our K2.
Yeah.
So then I put it on the table, and it did light up a few times with the K2. Not extremely so, not all the way to red, but it would react.
Yeah. So we were getting a little bit of attention to that. So he might have been coming over and checking out our bear occasionally, too. He wasn't doing it enough for you to leave it for him, Kelly.
No. Even though it was fun interacting with him, but no, it didn't seem like he was attached to it in any way.
This next clip that we're going to play for you, you're going to hear the spirit box starting because I'm setting that up when the music box went off.
So let's see if they want to play it back. No, it's something that's in front of it.
Tommy, is that you playing it?
Tommy, is that you?
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
That's awesome.
That's so fun.
Can you play it again?
Please, Tommy.
Let's see if Jack wants to play this. And stop talking.
Tommy, will you play it again, please?
Tommy, are you over by your bear? Yeah. Do you like your bear?
He is a very neat bear. I like him better than the one that I brought.
Your bear looks very nice.
So it stops until it always...
Can I go touch your bear?
It's okay if it's with Jacob touching the bear. Will you play the music again, please?
You want me to come sit next to you? Tommy, do you want to go step in front of the music box again for us? If that was you. Thank you. If it's alright with you, can I go touch your bear?
Sounded kind of like a kid saying yes when we asked if he liked the bear coming through the spirit box.
Next, Diane got the idea that we should sing nursery rhymes, and this is going to be a big hit with Tommy. In this clip, you'll hear us singing, I'm sorry for your ears.
Yes, I should have done that as a warning, too. You're not only going to hear my sister blowing her nose, but we're singing a lot in this, and none of us can carry a tune. But we get a lot of reaction with it, so just bear with us.
Okay, so you'll hear us singing, and then we asked Tommy if he'd like us to sing again, and we think we got a pretty clear answer on the spirit box.
Can you sing a song with us? We're going to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Should we do it, Kelly?
Let's do it.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Did you sing it? You want to sing it again with us?
Tommy, if you want us to sing again, will you turn on the music box?
Can you turn on the music box if you want us to sing again? Or you could say yes. Okay, we'll sing it again. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Yay! Thank you for turning that on again.
So we continue with the Song Fest. So next we decided to sing London Bridge.
Is there another song that you'd like to sing? What songs do you like? Can you tell us what songs you like? We can hear you through this. Looks like you said yes. Can you tell us what song? Thank you for sharing that. What song would you like? There's London Bridge. Yeah? Do you like London Bridge is falling down? Okay, we'll do that one. If I can remember it. London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady. That's fine. What other songs can we sing? Yes. What other song would you like us to sing? There's Ring Around the Roses. Pockets of Roses. Ring Around the Roses. That's okay. They don't know the difference. We used to sing it. We didn't know the difference. I think you would. What other song can we sing? We didn't quite get that. Could you say it again? We'll sing with the other ghosts too. Anybody who's here, we'll sing with you. Okay, thanks for turning the ball on. We're having a great time. We could do patty cake. You want to do some patty cake? Have you ever done patty cake? I didn't hear that quite. Did you want to do patty cake? Okay, not that song. What song? Let's see. What's another song we can sing? I heard a knock. I know, they're asking us to sing. What song should we sing? Okay.
There we go.
Okay,
Glad that you're having fun, Tommy.
Itsy Bitsy Spider, all right? Ready?
Okay, ready?
The itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again.
As you heard, the REM pod also went off along with the music box, and the cat ball went as well. And just for reference, the REM pod was on one end of this, I don't know, probably 5.5 foot table, and the cat ball went off on the opposite end.
And the music box is sitting on a chair that's away from the table, facing towards the wall where nobody can, cross in front of it or anything like that. So we're not setting it off. So
we actually set it facing the bear that Tommy likes to sit in the chair with. And so most of the time we're figuring that was Tommy setting it off.
Yes. The fact that all of these things went off together, and we do have that video up on YouTube as well. We have our best hits, I guess you could say, from this investigation. And that's part of it, where you're seeing all of this stuff going off at the same time. So that's a lot of energy.
And one thing I do want to mention, because some of the video where we're singing, and we realize what Ring Around the Rosie song means, but it, again, was a big hit, and there was response that, yes, it wanted us to sing that. In that portion, we're moving around the table. Some people might think that it was the vibration setting things off, but they were going off actively before we ever started doing that.
Yeah. We finished off with Itsy Bitsy Spider in the room that has the spider. Ha 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 ha.
And actually, Tommy really seemed to enjoy that one as well.
Yep.
Then we decided to do that Ring Around the Rosie and go around the actual table, and the REM pod went crazy.
Tommy, do you want us to sing again? Let us know if you want us to sing again. Yes?
Okay.
Okay. Ooh, have you guys done Ring Around the Rosie?
We did it, yeah.
I know. It's
We
kind
could
of a
do
bad
it.
one.
We could do it.
Well, once it's
That one's on.
Okay.
We'll do it. Okay.
Okay. Oh, should we do it? Should we go around the table?
I should turn this one on. Oh, this one is on. I didn't think I turned them both on.
All right, so we're going to do Ring Around the Rosies?
Yeah. But should we actually do it?
The bear's going off too.
Oh, the bear's going off also?
It was going up.
So you want us? Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
We'll
Do you
sing
like
Ring
this
Around the
bear
Rosie.
after all? Did you hear the REM pod go?
I did hear the REM pod go.
Yeah. Thank you. We can't go around the table because there's the equipment legs and then also this other music box.
Well,
You want us to go
You
around
want
the
around the
table?
table?
we'll do it.
Okay, hold on.
Around the
We'll have
table.
to turn off the music box.
Okay,
then.
we're
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
All right.
Okay.
Here, I'm going to turn the music box off.
All right, we'll get
Here we
on
go.
it. We'll get on it.
Okay,
Okay. All right. I think we're. Oh, let's
All right, you can step away from it. Just give us 1 second.
Hold on a minute.
Thank you.
You can do it with
Got it.
us.
Did
Okay.
you turn off that music box?
Yeah, I turned off.
Okay.
All right, we're
All right,
going to
all
do
right,
it.
ready?
Here we go.
Ready? Oh wait,
Can't
you
hold
start over
hands
there.
though, because
Okay.
We'll
there's like
pretend
not
like
enough
we're
room.
holding
All right.
hands.
Just watch the leg on this thing, guys.
Okay. Ready? Here we go. Okay.
Ring around the rosies, pocket full of posies, ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
John then pulled out the SLS camera at this time. We first aimed it at the bathroom, and there was definitely something sitting in there on the toilet. Eternally constipated? I'm not sure.
I mean, no offense, but he calls him Elvis.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, goodness.
We recorded a video of that. Again, that's up on our YouTube and our best hits there. And what's interesting is at first it's like kind of standing and moving around all weird. And then towards the end, he like disappears. He comes back and is all weird, disappears, and then comes back. And it's just a figure sitting what looks like probably on the toilet and just sitting and not even moving other than his head kind of doing a weird thing. And his foot is kind of twitching and it just sat there. So it was weird. It was like it was moving.
Constipated.
Yeah, I don't know if he was like trying to jiggle it out. Then he sat down and
he was straining. And also in that clip, you can see what the room looks like because Jacob actually turned on his flash momentarily. So you can see there's nothing in there. But yeah, we did get those figures on the camera.
Yeah. So the bathroom, as it seems to be in all these places, even though this is a unisex bathroom, haunted.
Indeed. And some people apparently don't like to go in there by themselves to use it, but I had no problem. I had to pee. There you go.
Then we took the SLS camera to the main room and Jordan got touched, as does, I don't know if Jacob necessarily got touched. What you're going to hear in this clip is John's going to say, oh, the thing is in the chair, which is right in front of where Jordan is kind of standing. She's a little bit off to the side with it. The music box is in this, and then it's pointed towards the other chair that Tommy sits in. We have this on video as well. Jacob walks up there, and you can see that there's a space between her butt and his hand, but she's feeling something touching her butt. And as she's turning to look, of course, she sees her brother next to her with his hand sticking out, and she thinks that he's touched her. What I think Jacob is doing is because John has said the spirit is sitting in that chair, he's going up there to see if he can feel it.
I do believe that that's the case. And throughout the videos that we have, you do see Jake react to things and stick his hand out like he's trying to feel something. So, and he did say that his hand got tingly.
Yeah, so he backs away, and of course his mom is kind of scolding him, going, "Did you touch her?"
He's going, "I did not touch her butt."
He's like, "No." He's like, "I'm not going to touch my sister's butt." And you can hear him being very adamant in this clip, and that he felt what felt like tingly static electricity, which is, we know, when you reach into a spirit, that is how it feels. So here's that audio.
Wants us to sing a song.
Someone's in the chair right beside you. Right here.
Tommy?
Which would explain why that music box
why
was
was going on so much.
Yeah, it's really cold right here, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
That looks spidery to me.
Oh.
Oh, he's
Jacob,
touching
was
your
that
hand.
you?
He's touching your hand.
Jacob, back away. Back away. Something just touched my
There's
butt.
no
Was that you?
way.
Did you touch her?
I didn't touch her. Something touched me.
Something touched my butt.
My hand got all...
Your hand touched
My
your
hand got
sister's
tingled.
butt.
No,
My
as
hand
soon
was
as you went up
tingly.
there, I saw your hand. It touched
Something,
your hand.
my hand went tingly.
Oh, I thought that was her for a second.
I didn't touch Jordan's butt. I didn't go near her butt.
He said the spirit touched your
Look
hand.
where the arm is.
Is he still touching you? I don't know.
He's got his arm around you, Jordan.
Oh, he's climbing up you.
No.
Can you feel it at all?
No, I can't. But that's weird.
It was really cold over there.
But it's acting weird though.
Huh.
Because the SLS normally
You got
doesn't
the temp
act like
gun?
this.
Yeah.
Now it's not even detecting you.
Jesus.
That's not you.
Well, there's
That's
AC
Tommy.
going off right here. I can feel
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as soon as he felt something touch his hand, I saw this thing reach out and grab his wrist.
Because my hand was tingly.
So, does Tommy want us to sing again?
I don't know.
Oh.
Tommy. Thank you. Do you want us to sing? Do you want us
That was
to
a
do
footstep.
Ring Around the Rosie?
Someone just steps in the kitchen.
Yep.
I'm going in there.
You heard some footsteps?
Oh, and
Tommy showed up on the SLS camera and waved. I didn't see it, but Christy did. And we did Ring Around the Rosie again. And at that time, I'm over by the SLS camera and I take video of that, and a bunch of stuff went off on the table again.
Or,
Oh.
yeah, that's James.
Hi. Hi.
Is he showing himself?
Tommy?
Yes.
Is he waving?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's waving
He's
at us.
waving.
Oh. He just stood up. He stood up.
It's okay,
Do you want to play
Tommy.
Ring Around the Rosie?
Is he dancing?
Yes? Should we do Ring Around the Rosie?
Let's do Ring Around the Rosie.
We'll all do Ring Around the Rosie. How's that? Okay?
All right.
You ready? Rich, you
needs
guys
to get
stand up. Okay. Okay, you ready to do it with us?
All right, everybody, let's do
Okay.
Ring Around the Rosie.
We're doing, Jordan, come on. You gotta do Ring Around the Rosie.
All right.
Okay, all right,
Ready?
Tommy. Ready? Okay.
Slow.
Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies.
Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
You gotta fall down too.
Wait, hold on.
Did you like that, Tommy?
Yay.
That was fun.
Switch.
7 years.
67 years.
Okay,
Plate.
you ready? Should we do it again?
6.
You gotta turn the music box off if you want to do it again.
Kiss.
Kiss. Somebody wants a kiss.
Direct.
Okay, thanks
Thank
for
you,
turning it
Tommy.
off. All right,
All right.
stop for a minute.
It said all right when you said to turn it off.
Fold.
And
Okay.
this just went off too. The K2 over here died.
Did it?
This one's still on.
Felon. Why does it keep saying
That
felon?
one's, well, it's supposed
It's
to be.
supposed to be
It's
on.
supposed to be,
Jordan.
Jordan.
It's supposed to be on.
Oh, why? On this
Because that's
one?
just showing
Yes.
that the pump's working.
Oh.
Okay,
It's like an energy pump.
are we doing it again?
All right, Ring
Okay,
Around the
you gotta
Rosie
turn off the
again.
music,
Can you turn the music off?
please. Thank
There
you.
you go.
Okay,
All right,
ready?
Wait, hold on.
Ready? Well, you gotta turn the music off so we can do this. Come on.
38 years.
You switching places? Oh, you're recording.
Beside.
Okay, Tommy.
100.
You're gonna get a video of this, remember?
Want. 39 years.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
Ring around the rosies, pockets full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
Dollars.
Okay, so this was really interesting. Tommy went away while you guys were doing it, and then he popped back in the chair.
Cent.
Oh.
Oh, were you joining us, Tommy?
Did you fall down into the chair?
Plate.
Where'd he go? Where'd you go, Tommy?
None.
You want to do it again?
Right. Want.
Yeah, everybody fell down, and then he was
Want.
like in the
Did
chair.
it say want?
Yeah,
Tug.
want. Tug.
Tug.
Jump.
Jump.
All right,
Change
let's do it
size.
one more time.
Change size.
What?
Change size.
Change size. Holy.
Holy.
Go the other direction.
Okay,
Okay.
go this way?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna go the other way, okay, Tommy?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Right.
What?
The ghost storm just went around the table as you guys were just about to go get started.
Tommy, was that you? Did you get in your spot?
Okay,
All right.
Here
ready?
we go.
Let's
Okay.
hold my hand, Tommy.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready?
Kurt cut.
Ring around the rosies, pockets full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
Thank you.
Did you say thank you?
Pinky.
That's kind of like,
I know it's not a good one, but
that's not a
Area.
good one to.
you know what? He did like Itsy Bitsy Spider though.
Yeah.
Itsy Spider.
25 years.
You know what though? He got all
Should.
super happy when
We did when
you were.
we did it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys
One
missed
was-
it.
Cord.
You guys are really kicking up a lot of orbs.
Well, we're probably running around and kicking up dust
Keep saying
too.
Monica.
but-
Well, Monica.
The
Keep
orbs
saying
I'm
Monica.
seeing are all low to the ground.
Oh,
looking
really?
Like trails, almost.
Really?
Jake then gave the Estes method a try. Unfortunately, we don't have the internal spirit box recording for this.
Yeah, so Kelly, we definitely need to do investigations more often because I forget how different things work when I'm not doing it a lot. And this is a very complicated tool.
Yes, it's got a lot of different options.
So I thought I was recording because I'd hit the record button and it came up and said SIM card, which made me think that it was recording it on the card. But then I found out, of course, later when I went to turn it off, I thought I hit the record button again. And then all of a sudden it started doing the numbers like it was recording. So I was like,
Yeah.
dang it, we didn't get it. This is probably the best Estes session we had, though. Jake did great. I can't believe this is his first time. Here's that audio.
We'd love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself. We don't know which spirit is speaking with us, or there may be multiple ones. So if you could give us a name, we'd love to know who you are. I'm Diane.
8.
What does the number 8 mean? Is that how old you are? Is that your age? You can just say yes or no. Could you say
When
yes?
it happened.
Something happened to you? Can you tell us what happened?
Tommy.
Oh, is this Tommy? We're glad to have you back here with us again. We've been having a lot of fun playing with you.
Or 7.
Is that? Yeah, I was going to say, are you 7 or 8? You gave us 8 too.
Here.
We know you're here, and thank you for lighting this up for us. Do you like hanging out with people here when they come to play with you? It's a lot of fun. Do you get lonely when nobody's here? Why do you like to be here?
Growl. Like a growl.
Is that you making some noises? Did you have any brothers or sisters?
Did you have a pet cat?
3.
So did you have 3 brothers, 3 sisters? How many of each? Like, how many brothers did you have?
1.
Okay, so you had 1 brother. So does that mean you had 2 sisters?
What?
Did you have 2 sisters? You said 3. So you have 1 brother, and how many sisters?
Can't.
You can tell us, it's okay. I mean, if you don't want to, that's okay too. You don't have to tell us.
Why?
I was just interested. I've got my sister here. This is my sister. So we were just wondering about your siblings.
Sing.
You want us to sing again? What would
Dance.
And you want us to dance too. What would you like us to sing and dance to?
Spider.
Is the spider? You want to do? Are you telling us that Spider's in here, or you want us to do that song again? You want us to do Itsy Bitsy Spider?
Well, the spider's on the table.
Please.
Oh, really? The spider's on the table? Okay, we'll do Itsy Bitsy Spider again.
Bear.
Oh, the bear? Should the bear do it with us?
Have the spider on the table.
All right, here we go.
Can't tell us with the equipment.
Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Yay.
The rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider went up the spout again.
Is that good?
Well, the spider's on the table.
Oh. Do we have a spider with us?
Thanks.
What do you think about the spider on the table?
No, it's
Should we be afraid of the spider? I don't really like spiders.
Rose.
Rose.
It's
Who's
right on
Rose?
The,
Rose.
It's right on the bouquet.
Of roses.
Or,
So the spider's
Ring
on
Around
the
Rosies.
roses?
Or does he want us to sing Ring Around
Well,
the
these are
Rosies?
roses.
Oh, he's gone.
I'm sorry. Did I scare the spider?
Red.
Red roses.
Tag.
Tag. Oh, do you,
You
want
want to play tag?
I missed it. I was looking over at him.
We could play tag if you want to.
Yes.
Okay. You have to. Okay. We don't know how to play tag with you, but John told us that you like to touch the REM pod, and then you go to another REM pod, and we chase you down.
Fight.
Do you want to play tag? You've got to turn the REM pod on for us first. Turn on one of the REM pods so we know where to start.
Oh, it's back on. Oh, that.
Thanks.
Oh, look at this.
No.
So you don't want to play tag?
I really need to get a recording software on this. There was something just spazzing out on the table.
Someone's touching my leg.
Was it like
cat?
It's like my knee.
Can you tell us through Jacob here, is somebody touching Jordan over here?
Light.
Yeah, you turned the light on. We saw that. Are you touching Jordan?
I think my flashlight's about to die.
Who's touching Jordan? It's okay as long as you're nice.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Are you feeling it touching you anymore?
Mm-mm.
You said you wanted to play tag.
Bear.
You want to play tag with the bear? How do we play tag with the
I
bear?
think that might have been the security camera.
Okay.
That was a yeah. Because you said it was...
This is going off right here.
That does click a little.
Are you setting the,
Especially when it sees motion.
Gotcha. You setting the EMF off?
Leave. In a deep voice.
Ooh. Oh, that was James.
Hey,
Well,
James.
James, we want to hang out here for a little bit longer, so
Yeah, we don't mean any
wanna leave.
disrespect,
We
but
got 30 more minutes.
Go.
No, we're going to stay here.
A deep growl.
That's okay if it upsets you, but you know, we've decided that we want to be here and hang out. You don't have to hang out with us. You can go into a different room if you want to, if we're bothering you. But we're having fun playing with Tommy.
Aggressive.
I know, you are being kind of aggressive.
can I try?
We wonder if the numbers he said, like 7 and 8, were referring to spirits in this location because he said the word here a bit after that. John mentions the spider being on the table numerous times. There was a vase with dried roses in it on the table, so it was interesting to hear Jacob say rose when we asked where the spider was. Then we were told to leave, but we didn't agree to that.
No, generally if something tells us to leave an area or a room, we comply, but we were like, no, we've still got a lot of time on the clock here. We're not going to leave.
We just always reiterate that we're going to be respectful and so on and so forth.
Plus, we definitely felt we had multiple spirits here, and just because one wants you to leave doesn't mean they all want you to leave, right, Kelly?
This is true.
Again, with the equipment and us not being as familiar with it, I'm not exactly sure what went on with this S-Box, because Jordan is now going to try the Estes method. We are going to get the internal recording from her stuff, but all of the Estes methods after this, I don't know if it didn't record them. It was showing the numbers going, and at the very beginning, I could hear like John talking, and then I would hit the record button, and you'd start hearing the spirit box doing its thing. So I don't know if it's operator error, equipment error, or if this was something paranormal, but all of the rest of the internal S-Box recordings we have, even though I erased them before we started here, were all from Lillian Place, because I recognized the words coming through.
It was so bizarre.
Yeah, because I'd be listening going, I'm not getting any of the words that these people are spitting out at all.
And you had deleted that footage previously.
So then I was like,
Lillian.
wait a minute, because some of the words that we got at Lillian Place were very distinctive, and I'm like, no, I remember this. So then I realized, I'm like, this is the audio from Lillian Place. Why did it not record from the house? Yet we got Jordan's. So I don't know. We're going to take it out and play with it again a little bit to get a feel for it, because this is the first time that I'd erased stuff and then re-recorded over it.
I think we need a basic cheat sheet like on a 3x5 card to take with us instead of that teeny tiny written manual.
Yeah. And again, maybe it had nothing to do with us, because we had some weird equipment stuff going on. So I don't know if it was maybe the spirits playing with stuff. And now a little break for a word about one of our sponsors. You'll hear at the beginning of this clip that we're going to play of Jordan's Estes method that John gets his ear tugged, and then he mentions someone else who died in the house named Colleen. Apparently she died in a fire. I don't think that we were interpreting that right, because the fire happened at the other house that had been right next to this one. So I don't know if she died in the fire at that house and now has come over here.
That's what I would figure.
John also mentions hearing something like nails on a door. There was this door that was closed behind us. I don't even know what it went to, if there was another part of the house there, but they don't open that door. It's got a lock on it, and John seemed very creeped out.
Oh, something just tugged my ear.
Oh.
James is like,
James
tell him to get out.
Oh no, it was definitely like a nagging.
Oh. Well, that sounds like a female thing to do.
Could be Colleen, but Colleen does not have a deep voice. She's the lady that died in the fire. When we see her on the SLS, she's missing an entire arm.
All right, so this is,
And that's how
we're
we
doing
found
the
her body as
Estes
well.
method with Jordan now.
Colleen.
So can you talk to us through Jordan over there? She can hear what you're saying. tell us what you would like us to do? I know earlier you said you'd like to play tag.
Was it not?
Did you still want to play tag with us?
Did they come? Did that pick?
Yes, he knocked on the door.
Okay.
But that came from right here. I heard it clear as day. It sounded like a very, like nails, like.
Shout out what you said right to hear.
There's a tap right there.
Yeah. Because it sounded like some nails, like that.
Can you do it again, please? Is that you, James?
Touching
It just, something just ran their fingers right through the back of my hair.
Is there somebody touching John? Can you tell us who?
Turn the camera around if there's somebody.
Yeah, you can go stand over there, and we'll just look at it from here and see if there's somebody behind you.
Well, I have a video that when I had a friend come down. I was walking up the hallway, and
Are you messing
something
with
was
John?
right here in the door latched onto me.
Who's messing with John?
Because there, let me show you.
Is it Colleen?
Tommy, do you have a pet cat in here?
Is there a kitty?
What's the cat's name? Can you share that with us? Is the music box off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anybody talking to Jordan?
It keeps repeating itself.
What is it? Keep saying. You got to tell us what it's saying.
It's either saying 6 or SEX.
Oh, wow.
Maybe he wants to have sex with you.
Awesome.
That's probably Jack. If it was a male voice, it's Jack.
Is it a male voice?
Yeah, but it's like every 5 seconds it keeps just saying that. But I can't tell if it's saying 6 or that.
Well, if it was 3 words and 3 times in a row, but
Yeah, we don't want 666.
So just shout out whatever you hear.
Okay.
Okay? Doesn't matter what it is. Just shout it out.
Hi.
it's not like James, you know.
6.
So why do you keep saying the number 6?
Sounded like that laughed.
Can you tell us why you're saying 6, or are you saying sex? Can you speak clearly to Jordan so that she can understand you?
Pretty.
Do you think she's pretty?
That tells me that's the other word.
6.
It's probably Jack. 90%.
Hey, Jack.
Because
So,
Jack's been all over her.
Jordan is 18 or 19?
19.
So she's 19.
She's legal.
She's legal.
Did you touch her before?
Did you touch her knee earlier?
Huh?
Did you touch your butt?
Have you been touching Jordan?
The thing is, when Jack's usually around, he likes to stand behind people that he's talking to. I don't see it.
Saying it again.
Can you say your name instead of that word? Can you tell me what color the flashlight is that's in my hand?
Yeah, it's just on the table.
What color is this? This little flashlight right here. Can you say what color that is? Through Jordan?
Just gonna leave that right there behind her.
It keeps going on.
What does?
The
wall?
EMF.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. It's what it
Yep.
is. It's very
Thank
low
you.
energy. That's Jack.
Jack. I heard Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's his voice.
Freak.
You are kind of acting like a freak if you keep saying that word.
I mean, he kind of is freaky after the story I told you.
You know, if you want a girl to like you or want to hang out with you, you need to be nice to her and say nice things. So if you say some nice things about Jordan, then maybe she would
pretty.
be interested. I know. Pretty's good. We have something else like
Is
that?
that Colleen?
No, that was sound like Tommy.
Tommy?
There might have been a female. But there's someone that's right behind me just touching my back.
Is there somebody behind John? Can you tell us who you are? Who's behind John?
Hair standing on him, too.
That was a female.
Yeah.
Is it Colleen?
We asked for a name through Jordan, but Jack apparently preferred the portal box and said his name through that. You guys heard that in the background. A word that Jordan didn't catch may have been sweetums. I'm going to play that here and see what you guys think. There were also some other words that Jordan didn't catch. I mean, it was her first time doing it as well. But a lot of the words that came up were like, we thought maybe sweetums, safe, sense, sight, and six. She got six and sex, as you guys heard in the audio a lot. So, Kelly, a lot of alliteration.
A spirit after my own heart.
In the audio, you heard Jordan say the word pretty. And it seemed kind of like it was appropriate because they clearly liked her, probably thought she was pretty. I listened to that spirit box over and over again. I couldn't hear pretty in there anywhere. And she seemed to have gotten it clearly, which made us wonder something, Kelly. We were like, is it possible when you're doing the Estes method that they can be talking not through the box, but into your head and giving you words that way? I thought, well, maybe that's kind of a crazy theory or idea, but you got me Amy Bruni's book, Life with the Afterlife, and I just happened to be reading, synchronicity, a certain chapter last night and get a load of this. I'm going to read from the book here. This is page 102. In this method, if you're the receiver, you can't hear any of the questions being asked, so it's unlikely your answers will be skewed toward what you want to hear versus what you're actually hearing. With your other senses blocked out and your focus completely on the white noise coming from the spirit box, you almost go into a little bit of a trance when you're listening for answers. And Kelly, I can attest to this, that I sometimes do kind of feel like I'm getting into a different wavelength or something.
You're zoning out.
Zoning out.
Or tuning in.
The more we've done it, the more we've questioned whether we're really hearing voices from the spirit box itself, or we're just putting ourselves into a state where we're able to hear the voices in our heads. I mean, the synchronicity that happens, it just blows my mind because
I know.
I literally was talking to you about this when I was listening back to it going, I wonder if she got that word out of the air, not out of the spirit box. It continues. This is a quote that she's going to share from Connor, who was one of the developers of the Estes method. Having somebody so focused on that noise can put them in something like a trance state, Connor said. At that point, you're wondering if it's a ghost speaking or it's a psychic middle place that enables something to occur. We're not sure where the answers are coming from, but people will go into a different state of mind when they go in there, and as of now, it seems to be working to communicate with something quite often. A lot of you guys know Greg and Dana Newkirk. Greg Newkirk agrees with Connor. I think there's an element to these types of devices that puts people in a trance state because their conscious mind is busy listening to this radio circuit, so their subconscious mind is able to slip into psychic impressions a lot easier. I think that our consciousness is a lot more complex than we give it credit for. And I think that's where a lot of this stuff is happening. Sometimes you just need essentially a white noise generator to calm your mind to the point where you can start to pick up that stuff.
Yeah, very interesting.
No, maybe it's a possibility. And here we have an example of that because I have no idea. And you guys, you have to trust me because I'm only sharing a couple of the words from the spirit box that definitely matched up with Jordan's. I didn't hear it anywhere. No pretty in there.
Christy tried the Estes method next.
I'm getting some bad vibes standing next to the store.
Well, I'll stand there. You guys want to mess with somebody? You can mess with me.
Something ran right here.
Oh, I was standing right in front.
Okay.
I felt something go like this.
Brush up against you.
Huh. Was it like a cat
Sure, it
or a
wasn't
person?
No, it was taller.
Like Tommy running past?
Yeah, like a little kid running.
Did somebody just rush past?
Tommy, you can hold my hand.
Yeah, it was almost like Prudence. She was running next to me.
Who was running past Jacob?
No, they're definitely touching me tonight. That felt like someone, like a little kid or someone just grabbed my wrist like, hi. Which Tommy will do. He'll tug, if you have
Hold
your
my
hands.
hand.
Yeah, if you have your hands up, he'll tug on your hands.
Okay, there we go.
If you want to hold my hand, I'm right here.
6.
Okay, so 6 is definitely a number that you're liking. Is it 6 or sex? You have to be more specific.
It's 70 degrees on the floor, 75.
Is there a different way that you can say whatever you're wanting to say?
It's been 74 around here.
The AC just kicked on?
Yeah, I just felt the draft pretty calm right now. Wasn't before though.
Well, I mean, it is fairly warm in here.
Can you say the name of the woman who has the headphones on right now? Who's listening?
Kelly.
Can you say what her name is?
Feel his hand.
Suicide?
Jack?
So somebody did commit suicide? Is that what you're telling us that you did?
I had a hand on it.
That's pretty, it's very sad that that happened. Sorry that you felt that you needed to do that. Is that why you stay here? Can you leave if you want to?
Science?
What about science?
Sex?
So like that said, what is it?
Did the flashlight just turn on?
Yeah.
Is it a male or female voice that sings 6?
Did it sound male or female when you were hearing 6?
It was, interchanged.
Okay.
Because it could be like Tommy saying his age or something.
That's true.
It sounded deep, though. Like, it didn't sound like a little boy.
Sex?
Well, nobody in this room is going to do that, so you can stop talking about it.
Hey, $20 is $20.
John says he might be interested, and you have been touching him a lot, so maybe that's what you're more interested in.
My left elbow is numb right now. I can't tell it's just from my joint
It's
issues.
cold still.
Is there somebody standing over by Jacob and John?
Something was just messing with my neck, and I'm just trying to see if I can. I was trying to figure out if it was my earrings hitting my neck.
Man.
Touched again.
But it wasn't. It was down lower.
Suicide?
And then next we have John giving the Estes method a try.
So now John is listening to you. We know you guys have been doing a lot of touching of him. Do you guys like John?
Is it Tony?
John comes and hangs
6.
out here a lot. Can you tell us why you keep saying
6.
that number? Why are you saying that number so much?
Tommy, are you 6 years old?
Is that a no?
James.
Is this flipped?
Tommy, can you tell us a little bit more about the cat that's
over
here?
there.
Does the cat
Morgan.
have a name? Did you name the cat Morgan? Is the cat's name Morgan?
Seriously?
Maybe not. Was that the name of your brother?
Suicide?
Is that you, Jack, now? There's multiple of you speaking. How did you commit suicide, Jack? If you don't mind telling us.
It looked like there's something scored.
Bathroom?
Bathroom.
Were you in a bathroom when you did it? Is that where?
Sex?
Well, we're not going to do that. We already said that's not happening. We'd like to know more about
6.
you and why did you commit suicide? Was it because you were sad, or was there something in your life that made you feel like you had no other option? And is there a reason why you have to stay here, or can you leave? And you just choose to stay here?
Sex?
Do you stay here because you're having sex with someone?
Sickos?
Yeah.
Well, you're the one who keeps saying it. I'm just, going with what you're saying.
Oh, whoa. There's 2 people. No, one of those is an Indian man.
Is it moving its arms?
You. It's
Okay.
Dad.
Oh. So the other one is Dad?
Mm-hmm. All of those are Dad. Dad and Dad.
Success?
Which one of us is your favorite?
Is something vibrated?
No.
Because I felt like that on my chair.
Oh.
Like someone's feet.
Yeah. No.
Something beeping. Or is
It's,
that,
no,
is it
that's
that
the.
thing?
Ooh, what is that back there?
Say what? As soon as I put it back in, say what?
Which one of us is your favorite?
Between who? You or me?
Jordan. Or Diane.
What person in this room is your favorite person tonight? Do you have a favorite person tonight?
Alone?
You want to be alone? We're going to leave pretty soon, but we're going to be here for just a little bit longer. Can you say one of our names? We introduced ourselves earlier. Do you remember? This is a test.
Say Jordan.
Do you remember anybody's name?
It sounded almost like it said Sweetwater.
That's not somebody's name.
It was 2 distinct words, but the first one was sweet or something.
Were you sweet talking him in there?
Me?
Yeah?
I was like, talking to him, but I wasn't sweet talking to him.
He got sick several times too. Maybe in reference to our family group of 6?
Yeah, I didn't even think about it until we were back here at home and I'm listening to all this stuff and I'm like, wow, 6 sure came up a lot. It actually came up. I'm going to do the Estes method next. And that was the first thing I heard. So I'm like, it's definitely saying 6. And I got to think about it. I went, well, there were 7 of us in the house, but John wasn't part of us. He comes in there all the time. There were 6 of us that were new to them.
That's why we like recording everything.
Yep.
And then, yes, this is Diane's Estes session.
Yeah, but now the spider's freaking out. But oh, there he is.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is my session.
Jack, are you
6.
Okay. He is really tall.
Yep.
Jack,
are you behind Diane?
Jack and Diane, haha.
It's a good song. Jack, are you in the room?
Her at the other table.
Jack, are you still in the room?
Trick.
I should require it. What questions do we want to ask? Seriously?
Again.
Sorry,
Yes, we're still here.
Prepared.
Joanne?
We're question impaired.
Who's Joanne?
Was Joanne your wife?
Were you
Is
ever
Julie
married?
Ask for a Julie.
Julie?
Is Julie with us?
He just said Joanne.
Is there
A lot of J names in here.
Because there's a Julia here who is a old lady that drowned in Jacksonville recently.
I see.
Who has
We've got Jordan, Jacob, John, James,
another
Jack.
John, a second John,
What do you want to
Julia.
ask? Tommy, are you in the room?
He also used to have a Jim.
Tommy, are you here with us still?
How old are you, Tommy? You can say it through Diane. Was that you answering 6, or was that Jack talking about sex?
It was definitely an older male voice. That's James.
James. What are you doing, James? You can come talk through this too.
Good.
How many people are here with us?
Why is it with this spot in particular where I just feel hair on end and just
Felt
anxious?
weird right there.
Oh, Jack's back behind you.
Jack, is that you?
He has an affinity towards you.
Me?
Mm-hmm. He's right behind you.
Oh.
His arms are like straight out, almost like a crucifix almost. Take a look at this.
Gee. Jack, you should hug Jordan. Hey, why?
Yeah, you should hug Jordan.
Can you hug her?
This is weird.
Can you touch her?
Why
Can
is
touch
this
her hair.
on the wall? The SLS shouldn't do this. It should. What is going on?
And now he's gone.
Did you read that? Did you read that? Oh, he wanted to know, did you read that?
Well,
Tom.
Right before she said that, it felt
Tom?
like someone was touching the bottom of my feet.
Oh. Tom.
Tommy.
Tommy, are you here again?
Oh, he's behind you, right on the wall behind you.
Tommy is?
Jack.
Oh, the ball.
Right where
Tommy.
the chair is.
Hey, Jack. Trying to have a seat here?
No, he's just standing there.
Okay.
Oh, the cat box came online.
It was a female, but I'm not sure what she said.
No, he's petting
Is
your
that
head.
Colleen?
Now he's petting my head?
Mm-hmm. He's standing up right behind you on the wall, but he's touching your head.
Can you move her hair? Jack? I can see her hair. Can you move it for me, please? She's never been touched before.
Horny.
That was pretty good.
It's been.
That was pretty good,
It must be a
Jack.
dry spell for him.
It must be.
Oh, he's so horny.
That's an old reference.
Uh-huh. Go ahead, you can touch me. Spite.
Spike?
Spite.
Spite.
Could have also been spider, but spite. I don't know.
Is there anything specific you want us to know? You can tell Diane and she'll be able to understand you.
Free time.
Free time.
It sounds like something that a kid would have in school or something.
Mm-hmm.
Too much free time. Is that
Did you ever
Tommy?
play dodgeball, Tommy? Did you play with marbles?
If you tag.
Ring around the rosy.
Ring around the rosy.
We know you like to play tag and ring around the rosy. And here I didn't want to do that because I thought it wasn't the best song.
3.
3.
Who's your favorite one here?
Are there 3 spirits here right now?
Incredible.
It's been a
Yes,
pretty
been an
incredible
incredible night.
evening. We appreciate you very much, all of
Yes.
you. What's that?
Excuse you.
Bless you.
Test.
Yep.
Yep, it's a test.
Did you know? The portal said yep. When you said that's me.
That's
blowing
really
my
weird.
nose.
It just changed modes on its own.
What?
It's now recording out here.
Oh.
That is weird. Something's manipulating it.
Won't surprise me.
That was really weird.
Never done that before.
I've never had it all of a sudden stop doing what it's doing and start doing, because all of a sudden I went, where'd all the static go?
Does Tommy feel like electricity when you touch it? Because different spirits seem to come across different ways.
The most common thing you hear is like your hand falling asleep
Mhm.
for a lot of the spirits, but I haven't really had Tommy touch me before, so I
Okay.
can't really tell what he feels like.
What does Tommy feel like, Jacob?
It's cold and tingly.
Diane thought it was cute that Jack was behind her, and Jordan said, Jack and Diane.
Yeah, when I was in middle school, there actually was a Jack that was in school as well, and he was cute. And I used to have friends that would make fun of me all the time and be like, Jack and Diane, sing that song and all that stuff. So if you're another Diane or a Jack out there, you've probably experienced that yourself.
Most likely. The portal box said, yep, after Christy asked if Jack was behind Diane.
What's interesting is I looked on the camera to see if you could see an orb behind me at all, and there was never an orb back there, but supposedly he was saying he was there, and he didn't touch me, or I didn't feel it if he did.
And then, this was pretty funny. I mentioned that Christy's never been touched before, and Diane blurts out, horny.
Yeah, that was, you guys heard it in the audio, that was hilarious. I could hear it. You guys laughed so loud, I could hear laughing, and I'm like, I mean, I did say horny, so that is kind of funny, but I'm like, I wonder what it was in reference to.
Then at the end of Diane's session, the S-Box just switched what it was doing all on its own.
That's why I'm not sure that it's operator error or equipment error when it comes to the S-Box, because unless that was equipment error too, I'm sitting there and I'm hearing static, 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 and then it was like a jolt to my system because all of a sudden the static was gone and I could hear what it had done is switch to recording outside. So it was recording you guys. So all of a sudden I could hear all of you, which I shouldn't be able to hear you at all because
No.
I've got earphones on.
Yeah, and the muffs.
Yeah.
We may need to make a little trip over to Ghost Stop because we're considering getting a Boo Bear as well. And
Yeah.
we'll take our spirit box and have a conversation with...
Yeah, just verify with them because they're the ones who made it and just be
Right.
like, you know, does this happen a lot? Did we do something wrong? Was it, you know, maybe something paranormal? We don't know.
I'm so happy that we have a shop like theirs so close to us.
Well, and everybody knows Ghost Stop.
Right.
So, I mean, they are the ones who put a lot of the equipment out there. Well, they happen to be just 2 cities over from us. So this investigation was a ton of fun, and even better, we got the opportunity to introduce our niece and nephew to ghost hunting. As Kelly said, our brother-in-law, Rich, still left as a skeptic. Even after all the stuff we had going on in there, he wasn't quite sure what was going on. But I said to him, you know, there's no doubt that some things happened on this evening that we couldn't explain. And I told him, I said, we don't necessarily say this place is haunted, but we definitely say some stuff happened in here that we can't explain. And so I think he kind of left with that idea. Is this house in St. Augustine haunted? That is for you to decide.
And I gotta say, Christy seemed like she was having so much fun. She was very into it.
She definitely was very into this. My sister and I used to own a business together when we both lived in Colorado. We did woodworking, and we always would take a break during the middle of our woodworking because that was right about the same time that Ghost Hunters got started.
Excellent.
And we would sit and watch Ghost Hunters together and talk about the different things they were doing. If stuff was haunted, wouldn't that be cool to do something like that? So she finally got a chance to get her feet wet, and I think she was thrilled. She just kept going, what song should we sing next? Because she was so excited to get the equipment to go off again. And when she would see stuff on the SLS camera, she's like, it's there again. So I'm like, it's pretty cool to go. I mean, I always get excited when stuff happens, but it's fun to go with people where it's like their first time.
Absolutely.
We highly recommend Ghost Augustine. Great company, great people. Their tours are great. They have great histories and stuff. And John was an incredible host, did a great job with us and just kind of let us do our own thing. And it was so fun. He kept saying, wow, I'm used to like having to do most of the work here, like do the interactions and work most of the equipment. And he goes, I'm just sitting back watching you guys do stuff.
That reminds me of when we investigated the USS North Carolina and some of the ghost hunters were there. Brian and Rochelle were our team leaders, and they just had fun sitting back watching us do our thing.
Yeah, and they got great ideas from us, and they were like, hey, do you want to be part of a team with us? So, yeah, I think it's because we have a really good energy and investigation technique. And, I mean, we're open to what do you guys suggest, but we also have our own ideas about things and how we do stuff. And I have no doubt that in the future, they're going to have other groups in here singing nursery rhymes.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And it just popped into my head because when we were in the Greenwood Cemetery, Ting had come over, who runs American Ghost Adventures. Love her. And she said, hey, why don't we sing a nursery rhyme, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?
Yeah, because we were in the nursery area of the cemetery.
And it worked beautifully. Our flashlight turned on and off.
Responded. Yep.
Yeah. So I thought, since we got a kid here, maybe we should try that and see if something happens. Wow, what a great idea. We'd love to have you guys check out our website at historygoesbump.com. And if you want to send us some feedback, you can do that at historygoesbump@gmail.com or contact us at any of our social media. We did hear from Jonathan, and interestingly enough, it's going to be on this show, Kelly, where we had spirits named Jack and James. And then in the house, we had Jacob and John and Jordan. We had a lot of J's going on.
The synchronicity.
Jonathan had told us about a haunted, abandoned hospital that he works at here in Florida. We're not going to share that location with you guys, but we are going to tell you a little bit about it. They don't let anybody do any investigations in there, but because he works there, he's had a lot of experiences. I can tell you that this particular hospital, although it's only been closed for a short time, is extremely haunted. I've been scratched, pushed, and have even had things follow me home. I've had extremely graphic night terrors about this hospital, and it's to the point I won't set foot inside of the hospital for longer than a few minutes at a time.
Goodness.
When the weather starts to turn, objects move inside the hospital, doors open and close by themselves. You can see shadows, hear disembodied voices, and see full-bodied apparitions wandering the halls. Wow.
And in Florida, we get extreme weather a lot.
A lot of weather changes. There's also a much darker presence at the hospital as well that seems to linger over the whole place. It has truly been the most terrifying place I've ever worked at in my life. Included is a photo of what I believe is a man in a surgical gown that followed me home. Forgive the gritty nature of the camera as it was taken at night. And we'll put that picture up on Instagram for you guys, see what you think. But it does look like something in a hospital gown, kind of walking with his arms in front of him.
I agree.
Kind of folded in front of him. Upon further investigation of this figure, the night that it was on camera, I could not see anything with my own eyes, but it remained visible on the camera as I got closer to where the figure stood, and then it vanished off the camera. We've had my home blessed since the event. As far as I can tell from my own research, there's been a hospital on this property since 1911. The original hospital is no longer here, but there is a home from the same time period just a short walk away that is linked to the hospital. The building that is here now was built in the mid-50s with a remodel sometime in the late 60s, early 70s. Wow, what an incredible place. Thanks for sharing that with us, Jonathan.
And this was initially brought up when it was posted in the crew. Do you think that severe weather, can affect hauntings?
Yeah, so that's why he made a point to talk about the weather. And we said, well, when we were at the Villisca Axe Murder House, we had one of the most incredible thunderstorms they've ever had there. And, we even had water leaking into the house, but it was
like a sieve.
Yeah, I mean, it was
pouring down the
lightning
walls.
and thunder, really loud and crazy. And it seemed like our activity did amp up a little bit.
And that could have possibly been due to our reactions as well, because we were on edge with as severe as the storm was. And then, of course, we were running around this old historic home trying to find something to catch water in.
Sure. And if you think about it, fear is what some of these things feed off of and how they get their energy.
Yes.
And these storms make you fearful. And now for you and I think we have PTSD because we've had our house hit by lightning. We had the horrible hailstorm. So anytime now it storms, I used to love thunderstorms. Now I always get a little tentative about it.
Same.
Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us for this episode. Hope you enjoyed our investigation. I have been your host, Diane.
And I have been your host, Kelly.
You take care now.
Bye-bye.
This episode is brought to you by our executive producers.
Dispatches from the Grave Digger.
We want to welcome into the cemetery Michelle, and I hope we're saying this right, Wish. You're going to be buried under an obelisk headstone.
Thank you so much for supporting History Goes Bump. We really could not produce this show without our executive producers.
Sweet dreams.